The exhibition is titled Staring into the Fire, and in a sense I mean that rather literally, as a reference to the primal feeling that we all know from being rather mildly hypnotized in that experience. My name is Kate Petley. I'm an artist. Although I have a BFA in sculpture and ceramics, I didn't really commit to the life of being an artist until I was 33. I just kind of exploded in the studio and jumped right into immediately making large-scale sculpture. I've worked in many different materials, and this exhibition is a culmination of those experiences. I'm bringing them all together here. Light, color, form, space, everything comes together in this show. There are 8 canvases, 2 photographs, and 4 black and white work on paper in the project space. I gravitate toward work that is very alchemical, if you will, and isn't necessarily picturing something. And that sort of opens up another whole level of territory. During the COVID isolation period of last year, I revisited an old a piece that I love that was Andy Warhol's Shadows, the big series. It is an epic piece. It's probably 100 and something canvases. They are not small. And they're installed edge to edge in a band around the room. And he began with a photograph of a shadow, and that shadow is printed black against many, many colors through this piece. And I put a small picture, a small copy of this piece on the wall in my studio, and it gradually made its way into my work. In that piece, there are no shadows. It is, the shape is floating within this very vivid and distinct, very alive background, and it's tethered only by the painted shape. In equal measure, at the opposite side of the room, it's almost the opposite. The piece is deeply shadowed, and instead of a floating shape, it's as if there's a wall or a skin that has been pierced and opened up. And in that, behind that wall, we see 2 kind of glowing areas. So both pieces approach a luminous surface, but in very different ways. The photographs, again, contain that luminous surface, but in the photographs, it is exactly as I saw it through the camera at the time the original image was taken. The photograph actually carries the full impact of the original image very authentically, and it's not altered in any way. The technical printing process alters the canvases more distinctly. So the luminous surface is uniting all of those in a very specific way. And it is a reference to the backlit screen, and also the long history that the luminous surface has had. Now that we have a portable backlit screen accompanying our every move, it is the dominant luminous surface of our age, but it certainly didn't start off in that category. I am experiencing this body in a location with this array, this constant, endless movement of people and relationships and objects and attitude, everything passing through that, and that is part of what I want to bring to the work. The space itself is not a void. It is not empty, and although I have a deep connection to the formal qualities like balance and tension, rhythm, those are intuitive qualities, and we sense them that is the place where I start. When I begin making the work, it is very intuitive. I may only know vaguely how to get started. And I have to move in a very interesting kind of menu of options to try to find the right moment. There's a lot of failure, and that's okay. The flatness and the jump between the analog and the digital, which is pronounced in my work. We see the photographic depth and the illusion of that, but I keep the surface very flat, that we aren't getting brushy texture. The painted areas are flat, and that enhances that jump. So people have to discern, what am I seeing? Which is which? It's not that easy to detect what is paint and what is not, and that's okay. That's good. I can't get where I want to go without both the digital and the analog. They are simultaneous. I can't separate them. It took a long time to get there, so I want to maximize what I can extract from them. I really wanted conceptually to start the process of breaking down the boundaries that have been the classic definition of craft versus fine art, or even photography versus painting. Mm-hmm. It is limiting. How we describe these things is limiting and frustrating. So that, for my own work, is very applicable. And it has kind of doubled down my commitment to attempt to find another way. We humans are uniquely set up to use language and definitions and categories, and I think we find ourselves in a world now where that is not helpful. And yet we continue. It's instinctive, and I'd like to move that aside if possible. I really want people to come into this with an open and available kind of position. And I know there will be questions, I hope questions, and maybe some challenges. Both are good, but I prefer that they really arrive and settle in and let their senses and perceptions begin that process before they start to describe and find words and ask questions.